Welcome back to Turf Talk Recap Edition. Vance, Kentucky Derby, another one come and gone. What will you remember most?
I have to think of the weather most of all. It was raining most of Friday and Saturday, sloppy track, always dreaming, relished the conditions obviously, and rolled to a very impressive victory. He's now in Baltimore as of this morning at Pimlico, waiting for the second jewel.
Yep, well for me, I lost my voice, lost my wallet, was definitely not a winning day, but gained respect for Todd Pletcher, not that he needs that from me, but I thought a masterful training job, someone who's taken some lumps over his ability or inability to win the Derby, came in with a solid chance, obviously, in a Florida Derby winner, and I think a lot of trainers may have just pushed ahead with the training issues, headstrong in the morning, etc., but he made some adjustments to equipment, to the rider, and certainly seemed to pay off in the Derby. I mean, if he had run off with, say, a State of Honor or Irish War Cry, things may have been different at the end, but, I mean, got the exact trip you'd expect from someone who wanted to run, and, you know, to me, a Hall of Fame level conditioning job by Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, and with this particular horse, he very much de-emphasized the preps. He didn't run this horse in a stakes race until the Florida Derby. He took that one big chance with him to get Derby points in that race, and it worked out successfully. And then, like you said, the equipment adjusted very late in the training period, and the colt came on, or got back under a reasonable behavior in the mornings, and I didn't probably take too much of that to heart, unfortunately. I thought maybe his negative demeanor early on in Derby week may have some negative consequences on Derby day itself, but it turned out to be the best thing for the horse and for Pletcher, so congratulations to all the connections. Masterful job.
Yeah, I didn't love him coming into, when he shipped to Kentucky. So for me, it was like, oh, this is another reason not to like him. If he had trained amazing, I wouldn't have liked him anyway. I mean, for me, I was with other horses at similar prices, so just he wasn't one of the ones for me. But he proved me wrong, and that's racing, and I'm going to take another swing against him at Pimlico. Sometimes you don't mind moving on. You figure, no, I was wrong, and I'm going to stick with him now, but feels like a wedding funeral scenario to me. For those who had him, like our colleague James, certainly can't begrudge him for sticking with him, but for me, at a quarter of the price now, I'm going to take another shot against.
Yeah, he's expected to possibly be even money, perhaps, against 9 others in the Preakness, and as I wrote on the Twin Spires blog Saturday night, I thought perhaps there was a little bit of a aid for him in running along the inside paths in the Derby. I think the top 3 finishers in the race all perhaps benefited to that to some extent. And Classic Empire, who ran 4th, your selection, very much took the worst of the trip in the Kentucky Derby, just sideswiped at the start, had to make a wide rally around the far turn, and just did an excellent job just to finish 4th under those circumstances. So, and as I wrote yesterday, I'm pretty much leaning in his corner now. He's not going to be a very good price just because there's not many other Derby horses coming back into the Preakness. I mean, we could be looking at 5-2 maybe on Classic Empire, 3 to 1 possibly.
Ish. It depends on how many other horses are in there and who, but I'd say 3 to 1's the max.
Yeah, sure. I would agree. So not a great price, at least compared to the 6 to 1 on offer at Churchill, but you got to take what you can get. And at this moment, I could just see this being a 2-horse race between those 2.
Yeah, for me, I haven't completely given up on Hens, who I picked 3rd. I mean, he didn't run at all in the Derby, so you either say, well, he was overrated and he just can't run with these, which is fine, or you say he didn't get a shot because of the track condition. He was way out of it. I mean, he was really never in the race. So I'd be interested in him just depending on how he moves along. And Gunnevera was a horse some said wasn't training that well at Churchill. Now he is staying there. He had a big race in the Fountain of Youth, so he might still be coming around from that. If things are more optimistic over the next less than 2 weeks now, he might be one I take a look at. He gets Mike Smith. He'll be a decent price. So those are 2 alternatives. Looking at Lee, 30 to 1 was the time. He's going to be a lot less now off the runner-up effort. He's not going to get the same conditions he got at Churchill. So from the Asmussen pair, I'm definitely leaning toward Hens. And then after that, we'll see who the new shooters are. But I think it's going to be a good race.
Yeah, those new shooters, I think the two to focus on would be Cloud Computing for Chad Brown, coming off placings in the Gotham and Wood Memorial. He's got a lot of room for improvement. I think the Preakness is only going to be his 4th career start. Then you have to look at Multiplier 2, who earned a nice 104 Bruce speed rating, winning the Illinois Derby. And considering his sprint-oriented pedigree, it looked like he was just getting warmed up in that 1.125 race at Hawthorne. So could be sky's the limit for him going forward. But history suggests that new shooters, not necessarily great win prospects,
right,
but definitely include them in your exotics.
Absolutely, yeah, and you took the words right out of my mouth. That's my next statement, so we'll leave it at that, but we'll have plenty of Preakness discussion over the next week or so. James will be headed that way next week, so we'll hear from him at Pimlico, and you'll hear from us next week.